When the sun comes up on America, across open fields, small towns, and city streets, a new day begins. And here, we rise with it. This is where hard work meets headlines, where truth matters, and America wakes up informed.
An interesting week.
They all are.
This is your country. This is your morning. This is Daybreak with Steve and Ivy Gruber. America, let's do it together.
Love you, Ivy.
Love you too.
And it starts right now.
All right, welcome to it on a Friday as we kick off another brand new day here. Glad to have you on board. It's busy out there, isn't it? Busy every single day. We got three big things for you this hour. Number one, in a very rare event, President Trump has gotten representatives from Israel and Lebanon to sit down in Washington to discuss a long-term peace plan. It really is a big deal and kind of remarkable. Number two, Senate Republicans are pursuing a deal that excludes Democrats but should deliver long-term funding for DHS, ICE, CBP, among other agencies targeted by the Democrat shutdown that has now dragged on for weeks. We'll get to that. And number three, look, I cannot get enough of the blowback against the Southern Poverty Law Center. They attacked Catholics, Moms for Liberty, and people like me. In fact, dozens of conservative organizations were smeared and falsely labeled as hate groups. Smeared because they were conservatives by this group. The SPLC has peddled those false narratives literally for decades. They've been a hate group. They have been a hate group. But they've been held up by the left wing for years to advance the false narratives about the threat of white supremacy and Christian nationalists and white men in general and male toxicity and all this other crap. The biggest revelation is the fact that while being the group labeling everybody else, while calling the KKK a hate group, which the KKK is, they're actually paying them. They're actually paying groups like the Ku Klux Klan to create problems. That's right, the Klan was on their payroll. Nothing more egregious than giving cash to those that created the entire Charlottesville fiasco in 2017. A series of events that they also used to smear President Trump ever since. We now know they have been both paying the extremist groups like Patriot Front and then proclaiming the problems that they hate America. It is with great joy that I tell you again, just like I have for 15 years. If you've listened to this program from the beginning, I've been riding the SPLC for 15 years, longer than that, but I didn't have a program on this network before then. The SPLC itself is a hate group, no moral authority to do anything. And the reckoning that has been a long time in coming is almost here. Yeah, they're going down. A criminal organization. And I'm not the only one that says it. Caroline Levitt says it too. Here she is.
Attorney General and FBI Director do a press conference on it. It was quite shocking to me to learn of the egregious violations of the law of the Southern Poverty Law Center was committing. And I think that's a story that should be on the front page of every newspaper in this country because they've obviously been duping their supporters and the American taxpayers for far too long. It's a criminal organization, clearly, and that's not our DOJ saying that or Todd Blanche saying that. That's a grand jury indictment saying that.
All right, and with that, let's get into it. It is Free Speech, Free for All Friday, powered by the Patriot Mobile Common Sense Hotline, 877-310-9966. It's your chance to weigh in from across this great country of ours. Ask me anything. Tell me where you stand. Make yourself heard, make a point. It's all with reverence to the king of talk radio, Rush Limbaugh, of course. Let's do it. The Patriot Mobile Common Sense Hotline, 877-310-9966. Wide open for business. Be nice to Brock when you call in, by the way. He's your call screener today, is Brock. We start with Patrick in Nevada. Patrick, welcome to the program.
Thank you very much, Mr. Steve, the Truth Gruber, bigger than Rush Limbaugh. Our president of the United States is going to go to China. I would like him to address the Chinese president on these biolabs that are in residential neighborhoods. To tell the president of China to get those labs out of the United States, and when they abandon them, do it correctly. Don't just walk away and unplug 12 refrigerators and have these chemicals leak all over the United States.
Yeah. Patrick, great call. Greatly appreciate it. We've seen these labs in places like California, and they did exactly what Patrick said. Turned off the power and left. Weird, right? Why would they do that? And how did these labs get here? And how many are there really? Good question. Head on a swivel, folks. Head on a swivel. Always looking to see what's going on. Let's go to Ray in Virginia. Ray, how are you today?
Hey, good morning, Steve.
Good morning.
I haven't heard one thing about Cuba for 3 or 4 weeks. What's going on?
Wow, that's a great question. I thought Cuba would fall by now. I know that they're sitting in the dark. They have almost no power because they have no oil from Venezuela anymore, from what I understand. There was a beginning of an uprising in the streets of Cuba. Look, who would want to live in Cuba? It used to be a beautiful place. Havana was a world-class city until 1959, 1960. And it's a dump. I mean, they're driving 1950s American cars. The place is a dump because that's what happened to communists. And for the socialists, well, that's America's fault. They don't treat Cuba fairly. Cuba can be anything it wants. I don't much care. They choose this path. But that's a good question, Ray. What do you think's going on? I think he went away. So it is.
I don't know. I really don't care much about it. I just haven't heard anything of it.
Yeah.
You know, about 3 weeks ago, it was a big uproar. Cuba don't have oil. Cuba's this, Cuba's that. And all of a sudden, nothing.
Good point, Ray. We're gonna shake the trees. See, we found out about Cuba. They've been quiet for a bit. That's true. But of course, the news cycle itself has been vicious since the beginning of the war on the 28th of February. Of course, you got Venezuela, Iran going on. You've got the economy bouncing around. You've got gas prices up and then gas prices down. A lot of different things to deal with. Let's go to Tom now. Tom is in Michigan. Tom, how are you today?
Great, Steve. I love your show. I just, everything that's going on, these people should be in jail already. And what do we got? Pope Francis .20 or something?
I didn't understand you. Say that again. What 2.0?
Yeah, Pope Francis.
Yeah.
0.20 or whatever it is.
Yeah,
You know?
Pope Leo is like Pope. It's Pope.
Yeah, Pope Leo, but I mean, he's like Pope Francis.
Yeah, I got you.
I'm a Catholic, and I don't think he's much of a pope.
Well, you're not the only one that feels that way, and I don't think that he's going to be very helpful to the Catholic Church going forward either. So, you know, he's been a detriment. Look, how do you come out there and represent an organization that is pro one man, one woman for marriage, pro-life, pro-family, pro-freedom, and basically come out against many of those things? How do you do that? How does the head of the Catholic Church endorse and embrace people that are abortion supporters? I've asked my Catholic friends this recently. How does he do that? And they didn't really have much of an answer. Anyhow, we got your calls coming in. Tennessee, Illinois, Arizona, Texas. Free speech, free for all Friday coming your way in a moment. All right, special announcement here this morning from the team. It's Anthony's birthday, and I just want you to know that. Give yourself a round of applause in there. Can you do that? Come on.
Oh, thank you.
What's that?
I said, oh, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
No need for cheers.
Yeah, just send gifts and cash. That's right, gifts and cash. Anyhow, I think he's 21 years old now.
16.
Congratulations.
Just turned 12.
Just turned 12. We run them young around here. All right, let's get back to the phone lines. Free speech, free for all Friday. And we want to thank our friends at Patriot Mobile to make it possible every week. PatriotMobile.com. Use the promo code Gruber. You'll save money, get a free month of service, and away you go, and you'll be glad you did. 877-310-9966. 877-310-9966. Kimberly, in the great state of Tennessee, is with us. Kimberly, what's on your mind?
Well, I'm calling in regards to the whole thing as far as disabled people and veterans. I don't understand it because being a daughter of veterans and being a spouse of a veteran, why are veterans treated so horribly in this country?
What do you mean? I mean, I understand how veterans could get more benefits and so forth, but the veterans hospitals, look, when I was a kid, the veterans hospitals were the worst there were. Terrible. And now I talk to veterans who say they built new facilities, they've got better hospitals. Is that not true?
It's true to a degree. They have given him 100% as far as medical, but as far as pension-wise, it's sitting at zero. Why is that?
Well, I guess it depends on how long you served. If you served 4 years, it's different than serving a career in 40 years. I guess it would be specifics, but I don't disagree with you insofar as this goes. In fact, I would agree with you, Kimberly. When I see money going to people that should not be in this country, when I see money going to people in one, DEI program or one, feel-good program after another that flushes money down the toilet, and there's homeless people, including veterans on the streets of this country, well, that's a problem. So I'm going to agree with you wholeheartedly there. But I can say this confidently, and thank you for the phone call. It's better than it used to be. Now, that might not be, the answer. But compared to where it was in the 1970s, it's better today than it was back then, or the 80s. Things have improved. The facilities have improved, that's for sure. Let's go to Steve in Illinois. Steve, good morning.
Well, I'd like to disagree with that lady. I will tell you something right now. I am quite happy, 100% satisfied with the health care that I receive under VA. But the reason I really wanted to call is one morning a few days ago, I woke up because I have your show, on my TV, and it flips to the show, and I was having a CNN nightmare, like you guys named the name of your show Daybreak. Are you kidding me?
I mean,
how about grass growing? How about paint drying? Daybreak? Give me a break.
All right, fair enough. But hold on. You still like the show, right?
Yeah, but
right.
I was laughing my butt off when I saw Daybreak. Are you kidding?
Right. Fair enough. I mean, I can take that, but you still like and you're still here, and that's what matters. You have a lovely weekend, Steve. I appreciate you being here. Let's go to Amy. He's not the first one to complain. Look, we all answer to somebody, somewhere, sometime. And, look, we're making it fly, baby. We're making it fly. Let's go to Amy, also in Illinois. Amy, how are you today?
Doing well, Steve. Thank you. Just wanted to call and just say happy Friday. Love your show. Love that you have a second hour because now I get to listen to you even more when I go to work. Love Ivy. And I love your cat. I'm just curious, what is your cat's name?
Little Kitty. He was just here.
Little Kitty.
Yeah, he ain't little. All right, he ain't little. He's a 2-ton Tessie. He's in love with one thing more than people: his food dish. I can tell you that. Anyhow, yeah, we have it.
Yep.
Thank you, Amy. Greatly appreciate the call. Look, we have a whole crew here. Go ahead. Did I? Well, so it is. Anyhow, we have a whole crew here, and it is. Maybe this is the way I can explain it. we live on a farm here, a small hobby farm, if you will. We've got dogs and cats and 25 chickens or whatever we've got. I don't count them every day. And we grow a garden, and we live our lives like real people. That's why I think we connect with people, because we're like you. We're not somebody living in a bubble in New York or Washington or wherever, speaking from the pulpit and casting our opinions down upon you. Our opinions, look, we arrive at them the same way you do. We look, we read, we listen. You know what we don't do? We don't get paid by Qatar. We don't get paid by AIPAC. We don't get paid by any of those people. Our opinions are actually real, organic, if you will. Because we are ordinary folks just like you. And I think that's the magic of what we do here. We tell you the truth based on our perceptions, not on who's paying the bills. How about that for fairness today? Let's see here. I've got Frank in Arizona. We can get you in, Frank, before the break. What's on your mind?
Hey, Steve. Hey, that's absolutely 100% correct, what you just said. And the reason I called is I wanted to know your opinion on when Japan or China might stop making American flags for our country.
Oh, there's a way to do that. It's AmericanFlagStore.com, I think is the name of the place. He's been on this program before, AmericanFlagStore.com, all made in America. You don't have to buy Chinese-made American flags or Japanese-made American flags or flags made anywhere except this great country of ours. Read the label. That's my advice. Read the label and support American companies making the American flag. By the way, little sneak preview here. If you've heard Real America's Music at different parts of the day on Real America's Voice television, we're working on some music for you right here, too. That's how much we got going on here. Oh, and I'm writing 2 books, just for the sake of argument. One of those should be out before Thanksgiving. So much to share with you folks, so much to talk about, and so much truth to tell. And Friday's a chance to talk to you about it. That's why I appreciate Free for All Friday so much. That's why Rush Limbaugh did it. That's why he broke ground for all of us. And here we are. More calls right after this on Daybreak. Let me say something else about this. You guys got me down this rabbit hole. So let me say, I like you. That's the other thing. I like you. I like Americans. When I look out across a crowd at a football game or wherever I see 1,000 Americans, I don't see problems and complaints. I see possibilities. It's not too late for this country. It's not. We have problems. There's no question. They're coming at us from every single direction. The Chinese Communist Party. The liberals who want to change everything and burn our Constitution. I won't stand idly by for that. I believe in this country. I believe in the people that put this country together. Go see the movie The Great Awakening. I tell you, this is a movie that you will just fall in love with. The Great Awakening. Learn about George Whitefield, the most famous man in America before 1770. Remarkable stories of America. And in this year, America 250, I am damn proud to be an American. I am the most fortunate person in the world to have been born an American. I would trade it for nothing else. Nothing else. But we have to defend ourselves, that's for sure. Let's go to Charles in Texas. Charles, how are you today?
I'm doing great, Steve. Glad to be with you this morning. So I'm gonna give a little twist to everyone's conversation this morning. I want to talk about President Trump's releasing of the UFO files, if I may.
All right.
I figured if they're coming out of the closet and going to tell, maybe it's time that I come out of the closet and tell you a great story. And I will tell you this before I begin, that this story is a true story witnessed by me. And it has
all right, well, let me jump in. You got 45 seconds. You got to tell it fast before we hit a break. Go.
Okay. All right. Well, it involves Albert Einstein and what he saw in his head about opening up a wormhole. I saw on my property in October of 2011, and I saw a spacecraft clear as day in my backyard go through the procedures of opening up a wormhole, and it involved 3 different forms of energy. And that's about all I'm really going to tell you because it's a very sensitive subject. But it is true, people. There is life out there. They're real. They're here. They're visiting. And I wish we would get back on track on trying to figure out how to open up wormholes because Albert was right.
Charles, great story. Thank you. What do you think? I just saw Tim Burchett say they're real. He said he's seen so much classified material. They're real. What do you think? More after the break. All right, so Barry writes in, and by the way, you can always send me an email, stevegruber.com. A couple of things I'm going to touch on here. First of all, aliens, they're a big topic right now, a lot of things to talk about, but what if they're not from somewhere else? What if they're from here? Barry writes in and says, I'm a lot more concerned with illegal aliens than space aliens. Well, that's a fair point, Barry. A lot of people are. But what if they're native to this planet? What if they live beneath the sea or beneath the Great Lakes? I'm just throwing it out there. If we're going to talk about it, let's explore. I mean, I've seen these little pill-shaped things, videos from United States Air Force jets, and they go into the water and they disappear. Never seem to slow down, come right back out of the water. What if they're natives? And what if we are the invasive species? Just throwing it out there for conversation, my friends. Why not? It's Free Speech, Free for All Friday. By the way, yesterday or the day before, sometime this week, I talked about cigarette smoking in America. It's down to 6%. And there is a move in the UK to ban cigarettes forever, in some other countries too, New Zealand and elsewhere. And I said, what do you think about that? Almost everybody is opposed to it, of this audience. Say, no, if you want to smoke, people said, I don't smoke, but if you want to, knock yourself out. And then one of you was smart enough to say, well, okay, cigarette smoking is at 6%. How many people are smoking weed? And I thought to myself, that is a great question from my audience. And I don't have the answer. I don't know how many people smoke weed. And they pointed out probably a lot more detrimental to smoke all that weed than it is to smoke cigarettes. All right, back to the phone lines. Charlie is in Indianapolis. Charlie, good morning.
Hello?
Yeah, Charlie, go ahead.
Yeah, I've got two quick questions. Why is Michael Lee still trying to get 1 million people from India over here for so-called high-tech jobs when American students are spending tens of thousands a year on their STEM college degrees and stuff? And also, I just saw on the ticker Tom Cotton blasting Trump for decriminalizing marijuana, declassifying it lower standard. How can man outlaw a plant that God put down here? And as far as the tobacco and marijuana is definitely more safe because man's putting 5,000 chemicals into my tobacco cigarettes. It's unreal. I'm over these turncoat Republicans. They always say they're on our side and take us for another ride. Indiana didn't even redistrict. Thanks, House Republicans from Indiana. Bunch of Hoosier Hicks, man. Love you, Steve. Great show.
Thank you, Charlie. Thank you very much. I don't know that marijuana is safe. I don't think it's safe to smoke anything. I don't think vapes are safe. I don't think smoking cigarettes. But if you want to do it, knock yourself out, all right? That's where I come down. I don't smoke. I did until June the 1st, 1999. I think I'm over it. But I was a smoker once, and I'm not going to pass judgment on those who still smoke. I wonder about it. I've got Dan on the line. Dan, I didn't write down where you were from. I apologize. Dan, good morning.
Good morning, Steve. I'm just south of Charles here in Martinsville, Indiana.
Indiana.
Okay.
Go ahead.
It seems Hezbollah and the Houthis are on their knees, but I would like a daybreak update on what's going on in Gaza.
Fair point. What is going on in Gaza? It seems that Hamas is rebuilding from what I have seen, which is exactly what you would expect. They never go away. It's like rust, right? You can paint over the rust. You can take it to the body shop and get the car fixed up. But that rust is coming back because rust never sleeps. Neither do terrorists. There could be one terrorist left, and by tomorrow there'll be two, and by the day after that there'll be four. You have to eradicate it. You cannot have one left. Because it's like a disease. It's like a cancer that will continue to grow and metastasize unless you exterminate it. But I'll look into that, Dan. Greatly appreciate that. That's a smart thing. Let's check in on Jennifer in Michigan. Jennifer, welcome to the program.
Well, thank you. Good morning, Steve. I wonder just exactly what the politicians in the state of Michigan are hiding that they don't want to pass the Freedom of Information Act. I'm tired of it. They're crooked as a $3 bill. I don't know what they're hiding, but I know that every one of them that leaves office is a millionaire after they get out. And that does not set well with me. It just irritates the crap out of me. People, you got to start fighting to find out the truth. They're scamming you, but you're letting them get away with it. What's the matter with you? Get a backbone. Start fighting, raising heck. Thank you, Steve.
Thank you, Jennifer. Greatly appreciated. For anybody who doesn't know, Michigan is like the only state out of 50. Maybe there might be two, but we have the least effective Freedom of Information Act laws in America. the governor not subject to freedom of information, and neither are a lot of other folks in state government. We can ask the questions. They don't have to answer. That's why she's upset, and I understand that. Also in Michigan is Alex. Welcome to the program. All right, let's put Alex back on hold. There's a problem with the connection there. Let's see if we can fix that, Brock, and we'll get back to that one. In the meantime, we'll go to Mike in Kentucky. Mike, good morning. Welcome to the program.
Good morning, Steve and little kitty. How are you doing this morning?
We're doing good.
America?
Doing good. What's on your mind?
I want to bring up something a little bit more domestic than all this war going on. Me and my wife are on SSDI and SI.
Mm-hmm.
And back in June of 24, my mother passed away and left me a life insurance death benefit. And I decided to, instead of take the lump sum, I took it paid monthly. And they count that as annuity with SSI. And I have found two of their own rules that say that it's exempt. And they keep saying annuities are not exempt whatsoever. This all started, though, back in February 6th of this year.
You know, Mike, you raise a good question, and I got to leave it there because we can't spend too much time. But here's the thing. I've always been a believer that life insurance, at least to a certain level, should be tax exempt and not subject to what you're talking about. It should not impact your SSDI benefits. It should not. You're burying a loved one. There should be an exemption there. And I don't mean a $100 million life insurance policy, but maybe $1 million should be exempt. Something. Why should the government be able to swoop in and gobble up even more money? I don't like inheritance taxes at all. I don't like the death tax at all. And I've been through it twice. I've lost both my parents. And the government came in and took a big chunk out of each one. Let's go to Zach in California. Zach, we got about 1 minute, my friend. What do you got?
Hey, good morning, Steve. What's it going to take for America to wake up?
More Gruber.
More Gruber. Second point is that you asked a question earlier that was very specific. That marijuana rescheduling, there's actually 20 million people that use it per day that help with that. Bottom line is, thank you for helping other people at least have the thought process to wake up.
Amen.
Have a blessed day, Steve.
You too, my friend. You too. 877-310-9966. We are having some technical issues here today, so if the calls are a little bit muddier than they normally would be, we'll have it fixed for you by next week. I promise you that, and I'll be right back. Cleo. All right, here it is. You know what this show is? We sit here and we expose everything that we need to expose. We talk about the big stories. We talk about things that people do not talk about every day. But it's also, for me, and I guess we're kind of down this road today, it's a celebration of America. It really is. Look, I was blessed to be born here, right? And so when we create partnerships with people, man, when we partner with an American company, it is the best possible thing. It really is the best possible thing. And we just love it. And joining me now is Brad Hoos. He founded Muskox, the best flannel shirts in the world. He founded it in Detroit against all odds. And he's making it happen. And if you want the best flannel shirt you're ever going to own, which at this time of the year is the perfect jacket, because in the mornings in the Midwest where I live, it's been in the 30s and 40s. The days are warm, but you get out there with the jacket, it's perfect. Brad Hoos joining me now. Brad, good morning.
Good morning, Steve. And I think we're both blessed to have been born in America. So every
Amen
day
to
I'm
that.
grateful for that.
Yeah, amen. And you, because look, you have an opportunity here you don't have anywhere else. You couldn't create Muskox and create these flannel shirts in 100 countries I could name right now. But you can do it here.
That's true.
And you can build a product. And man, you've done it for years now. It's been voted the best flannel shirt in America for years running by the team here at Gruber, by Gear Junkie magazine. I mean, you've built a product that's real. It's not you're not going to have these holes in your elbow in a year. You're not, because they're tough and they're beautiful. And this is a great time of year. This weekend, we're going morel mushroom hunting and maybe some walleye fishing. That's kind of our loose plan for the weekend. You know what we're going to have with us? A Muskox shirt. Tell the folks about this shirt and what drove you to make such a great product.
Check. You guys are smart for sporting the Muskox when you're out and about. Well, listen, we had this crazy idea that quality still matters. Doing things the right way still matters. Trying to build something that lasts still matters. And we focused on the little things. We focused on the details. And our shirts are an investment, right? But they're very high quality products, and people recognize that, and people appreciate it over time. So as a business, we're not a get rich, quick sort of scheme, but we're built to be successful over the long term, and we're building momentum. And as a business owner, that's very exciting. We're really grateful to have the support of Gruber Nation throughout. But at the end of the day, we could get into all the specifics, but we make great flannels that people absolutely love, and they keep coming back and back and back because we do make the best flannels around. I try to be humble, but that is the reality of what we've built.
Absolutely true. Plus, you give to wildlife. Every time somebody buys a shirt, you make a donation to wildlife in this country, which I appreciate. You do the right thing. And to be fair, look, most of your fabric, not all of it, comes from Portugal, because America's textile industry was destroyed by foreign trade. But we're fighting it, and we're clawing it back, and we're going to make stuff in America. And some of your stuff is starting to originate here. And I appreciate that, Brad. You took a complex problem, and you solved it by building a great product and putting your flag squarely in Detroit, Michigan. God bless America, right?
That's right. Steve, we've had a really, interesting journey and one that I'm really proud of, right? So I don't come from the clothing or apparel industry, so we've had to learn it, one day, 1 week, 1 month, 1 year at a time. And when we first started, we just got moving. I think that's important as an entrepreneur. You just need to move. And soon we said, well, let's make sure we're really thinking about this. And we said, hey, we're not going to have any of Muskox clothing manufactured in China. And so that's been true for us for years and years and years. But we've continued to try to push the envelope, and we announced a few months ago, right, that we now have a 100% American-made T-shirt. So the cotton was grown in the great state of Texas, and all the printing and cutting and sew was done here in Detroit.
Yeah.
But now we're to a spot where we're actually going to be rolling out an American-made flannel here in the coming months. You can't get that now on our website, to be clear. But we're continuing to make progress, every day, and that's something that we're really proud of, because it's not easy to try to figure that out in terms of sourcing and manufacturing in this world, to have the quality be at what we feel that it needs to be to put the Muskox logo on it.
Well, we appreciate it, Brad, and for anybody that watches this program, look, we've been doing this for years and years. We only partner with people like you, Brad. We only partner with people that the product is something we use and believe in. And trust me, everybody here, in the winter, you have to have a muskox. This time of the year, it's the great spring jacket. It's the perfect thing for that morning stroll, for that morning cup of coffee and everything else, and they are spectacular. Brad, I am proud of you. I'm blessed to be an American, so are you, and thank you for being here. Truly, I appreciate you.
Thank you, Steve. I appreciate your support, and at Muskox, we appreciate all of Gruber Nation for the support over the years. So thank you very much for helping us along the way, and
absolutely
feeling better when you're outside.
Absolutely. Thank you, Brad. If you want to find out more, go muskox.com. You'll save $15 using the promo code Gruber. Go muskox.com. Promo code is Gruber. And trust me, I believe in this product. I believe in this company. I believe in America, if you hadn't picked up on that. Let's get one more phone call before we hit the break here. Ronnie has been in queue here for a moment from California. Ronnie, welcome back.
Hey, Steve. How you doing?
Good. What's on your mind?
I got a statement and a question and a couple quick proposals if we can get to it. But my statement is about artificial intelligence, AI. I just want to say that my intelligence is all natural and organic, and it's built on common sense. And just want to say that. But my question is, Zoran Mandani, he swore in on a Quran, right, for the mayorship. Could if he had to go to a court of law and be a witness and testify, could he swear in court on a Quran? Would that be legal?
That is a great question. And you know what? I don't know the answer to that. That is a great question. You're probably not the first one to ask it, but it's the first time I've heard it, Ronnie. I got to leave it there. I'm sorry, my friend, because we were up against this break. But let me look into that. Because if you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, you put your left hand on the Bible, you raise your right hand, you swear an oath to tell the truth. Lots of folks don't, but that's the oath that they give. Let me look into that. Don't forget, you can always send me an email, stevegruber.com. stevegruber.com, send me an email on any and all topics, all right? We'll be right back. All right. We were talking about veterans earlier, so I want to say this. Today's episode brought to you by PureClean's Veterans Initiative, Puro Vet. It puts you to the front of the line. If you are a veteran, pay attention. You can have your own franchise. They'll cut the cost, put you to the front of the line, and put you in the restoration business because they love veterans. Join a trusted brand. Serve your community in a way you never have before. 855 Puro Vet. PuroVet.com for anyone who is a veteran or knows somebody who it is. Take them to PuroVet.com. Let's get to a couple of phone calls before we get to the back end of this hour. Dan is in Michigan. Dan, welcome to it.
Hello?
Dan, you're on.
Yes, great show, Mr. Gruber, great show. The one question I have is, I want to know why this congresswoman from Minneapolis has not been arrested and deported from the United States. It seems like we arrest the Americans, like Seawall and all them. You know, I'm a Trump supporter, but anybody that breaks the law, something should be done, and I want to see something happen with it.
I agree with that, Dan. Thanks for the call. Ilhan Omar is the focus of an investigation now by the Ethics Committee after saying she was worth somewhere between $6 and $30 million on her disclosures, and now she says she's worth less than $100,000 and refuses to answer any questions about it. Something smells here in Minneapolis again. All right, George, upstate New York. You get to bring us to the end of the hour. George, what is on your mind?
Hi, Steve. I just wanted to say that you made a statement earlier in the show today that cigarettes might be worse than marijuana. And I smoked marijuana myself for 57 years. I'm 68 years old now. And cigarettes are definitely worse than marijuana. I don't have any physical health problems from smoking marijuana whatsoever. My lungs are clear as a bell. I do not have heart issues. I have no issues from smoking marijuana. The worst thing from marijuana is what it does to you mentally. It can put you in a zone. It can keep you addicted. I smoked it every day, all day.
Well, there you go.
Years.
George,
Maybe
greatly
3
appreciate.
years before I got sober.
Got to leave it. Well, I appreciate that. Leave it there. A lot of conversations about it. It's a good one to have. Yes or no? A kid should not have it. I think we've learned that. But more after. Again, if you want to weigh in, SteveGruber.com. Send me an email. I'll be back after this.
America's awake, and we're just getting started. The headlines that matter, the stories they won't tell you, and the voices fighting to be heard. This is your country, your morning, your daybreak with Steve and Ivy Gruber. A new hour starts right now on Real America's Voice.
All right, let's kick off right now. Welcome back to it. Fighting for you from the foxhole of freedom on this beautiful Friday. 3 big things you need to know this hour. Number 1, to no one's surprise, we're learning that China is working overtime to steal America's AI secrets and enrich themselves with the hard work done here. Just more proof that China's our biggest enemy on the planet. Period. Paragraph. Number 2, how long will the ceasefire declared by President Trump with Iran last? The president showing considerable patience by waiting to see who is actually in charge over there and who can actually come to the table. And number 3, let's get into it. It's Free Speech, Free for All Friday, powered by the Patriot Mobile Common Sense Hotline, 877-310-9966. Your chance to weigh in from across this great country of ours and ask me anything, tell me anything. Make yourself heard with reverence, by the way, of course, to talk show king Rush Limbaugh, who did this on Fridays as well. And, of course, Ivy is in the room. Ivy, good morning.
Good morning.
Nice to see you.
Nice to see you, too.
Yeah, as we celebrate Anthony's birthday here in the office. Yeah. Applause, Anthony. Applause. Come on now.
Oh, come on. Yay.
There it is. Anyhow, what's on your mind, dear?
Oh, my goodness. So I always like to talk the most ridiculous things or dumbest things I've heard all week. Well, there's 2. One is a story that I'm reading out of North Carolina and another one out of Florida. So my first one, North Carolina school superintendent says he sees nothing wrong with kindergartners reading a book depicting men and BDSM leather outfits making out. And he says that's certainly something a child would see in their community.
No.
I mean, what? What community do you live in, buddy? I mean, are you in Key West?
Hey, easy on the Key West folks.
Well, I mean, a couple times a year, at least one time a year, they think they have a big festival over there. Now, I lived there for a period of time, so sometimes you're just riding around, you're going, what in the world am I looking at?
Next Friday on the program, Ivy's Secrets from Key West.
Yeah, right? Yeah. The other one, so, I mean, absolutely ridiculous. I mean, come on, guys. Can we just stop it with this nonsense?
Yeah.
Just let our kids be kids, and they don't need to be seeing this, BDSM, really? People are just walking around with BDSM outfits on?
Well, they want to normalize deviant behavior. Look, you want to do that behind closed doors, knock yourself out. It's America, right? But you don't, we don't have to sit there and say it's normal for you to have somebody on a chain walking like a dog down the street in leather chaps, all right? I don't need to see this.
Exactly.
My kids don't need to see this. Hey, where am I wrong?
I 100% agree with you.
Yeah, anyhow.
So, okay, one more thing.
Sure.
Okay, Anthony, you can play the speed roll. So, which vehicle would you rather be, Steve? A woman's driving through a parking lot in Florida. She drives her Florida big truck over a Lamborghini because she does not see it.
Oh, my gosh.
Like, whoopsie.
Is the Lamborghini feller okay?
Yeah, everyone was fine, of course. You might the truck probably did a bit of damage to the Lamborghini, and you can see she's in a panicked state.
Yeah.
But for me, I'd much rather be the truck. So.
Yeah, it's a Florida truck. We call those Florida trucks, by the way, those giant trucks, giant lift kits. They got lights on the undercarriage, all that stuff. I call those Florida. Yikes. That's the end of the Lamborghini, by the way.
That's right. Well, let's get to our callers.
All right, let's go to Johnny in Tennessee. Johnny, how are you today?
I'm doing all right, Steve. Good morning to you. Good morning, Miss Ivy.
Good morning.
And I just wanted to make a few comments here. I've been making notes because I've been waiting. Number one is regarding smoking. I got a friend that smokes because he's allergic to every of the stop cat. I've got a Manx cat. It's up in my face. He's allergic to all the pain drugs, and that's all that does him. And the VA's giving him down the road because they have a no smoking program in their way of doing things. Mm-hmm. I wanted to make a comment that aliens, from what I have seen, they're not from outer space. Okay, they're just like you said about coming out of the water. The morning show, you need to take over the guys that follow you because you have a whole lot more information that you're delivering to the people that they need to see instead of all that yah like, the liberal morning shows do.
Fair
I have a
enough.
friend that is fighting the federal government to get her inheritance right now, and the IRS is just bleeding money out of her.
Oh, Johnny, I hate that. Really great call. I do hate that. Look, I've been through it twice. And when my father died 20 years ago, the government, he had 3 sons, right? And it was just share and share alike, split the whatever's, he died in an accidental fall. Terrible thing, right? He was 67 years old. But the worst thing was the federal government got more from that estate in 2005 than any one of his kids. And there's just something wrong with that.
I think that getting rid of the death tax is probably really smart because you pay taxes all along the way.
Your
Why
whole life.
then too?
Yeah.
I mean, at least allow for families to give money to their kids. It's just the same thing with farmers.
Yeah.
When, if you have a big farm and your parents die and then you're trying to pass on the farm to your kids, they lose so much money in that transfer.
Well, here's the thing. You're land rich but cash poor.
Right.
And so what happens is the estate tax comes along. You're forced to break up the farm to pay the tax. The farm is gone.
It's ridiculous.
Right. And we're losing too many farms as it is. It's a terrible thing. You're exactly right.
Right. And I do know a lot of people who are using marijuana for like pain mitigation. I have heard that before.
Yeah, they do.
But I just don't think it should be available on every street corner in every state. I just think that's a bad plan. I think that especially for young people, it's just terrible. I mean, I saw a video of it's a precious little young man. He was probably 8 years old. He was literally like screaming.
Because, he found gummies. He thought they were candy.
No, he was given gummies by another schoolmate. And that schoolmate knew that they were loaded with THC and they were super powerful
But they're
ones.
8. How much do they know about it? I mean, how much they don't know. And when you treat it like candy and you end up, the kid was in the ER. It was a horrible video.
Horrible.
All right. Let's get back to the phone calls, can we?
Yes,
cool.
let's
go to Peter in upstate New York. Peter, how are you?
Hey, good morning, Steve. Another great show today.
Thank you.
Hey, look, you mentioned, first of all, I agree with you wholeheartedly that it was by God's grace and mercy that we're born here in the great country of America. And I want to say, when you brought up George Whitefield, one of the greatest preachers and evangelists in our history, as you know, he was not allowed to speak in churches. So he had to have his gatherings on the outside. So one could think or say he was probably the first outdoor evangelist in our history. And it was great. He'd send his front men to the next stop to set everything up. And lastly, I want to say God bless you to Ivy and you this morning, and have a great weekend fishing. And by the way, I like cats too. Have a great day.
Have a great day. Thank you, Peter.
Yes, God bless you too, by the way.
Yeah, Ivy, you might not have heard, but I was talking about everything we do around here. And the reason that we connect with people is because, look, we're just like you guys.
Absolutely, we are.
Yeah, we're just like you guys.
We're just, regular people.
We just have a different job, that's all.
That's it.
Which we take seriously, by the way, and work really hard to get you that information every single day. We work really hard with a very good team. And like you say, make sure you know that it's Anthony's birthday. Happy birthday, Anthony. We're going to say it all morning. Anyhow, we're going to take a break. It is Daybreak, whether you like the name or not. It's Daybreak, and we will be right back, all right? We're going to continue getting to your phone calls. Michigan, Pennsylvania, North Carolina, and a whole lot of other states lined up. 877-310-9966, the Patriot Mobile Common Sense Hotline. Sit tight because there are other important things we have to cover any given day. One of those being the vote in Virginia on Tuesday to redraw the congressional districts. It looks like an octopus. And it's in violation of pretty much every Virginia law. In fact, a judge came out the following morning and put a kibosh on it for now. It did not certify the election, but they expect that the Virginia Supreme Court, far-left Supreme Court, won't follow the law, but will follow ideology and overturn that. But the fight has just begun. Victoria Cobb is the president of the Family Foundation in the great state of Virginia, joining me now. Victoria, good morning.
Thanks so much for having me.
The next political fight here. Okay, so the judge did the right thing. He declared what happened in Virginia unconstitutional. He's right, by the way. None of the rules were followed. And it's not going to stand. I do believe that Louisiana versus Calais, the Supreme Court decision coming down, will go 6-3 to get rid of gerrymandered districts based on race. I think that's going to impact Virginia as well. I think it could impact California. But let's talk about Virginia. This judge set it aside. The Virginia Supreme Court likely to overturn that. But there are several lawsuits in the bullpen, aren't there?
Yeah, there's a litany of lawsuits, actually, because in doing so, they violated so many laws. For most of the folks in the country, they may not be aware, but Virginia had a nonpartisan commission that was intended and created and put into our Constitution to do our lines. It wasn't simply supposed to be a bunch of politicians. And they rushed through a process to undo our Constitution in a way that was illegal. And so, yeah, there's a ton of lawsuits coming, and we are hoping that the courts will err on the side of the rule of law, not on the side of politics.
Hard to predict, but I'm going to ask you anyway. Do you think it's possible that regardless of what happens at the Supreme Court, which I think would set that aside, but let's assume that it would not, all these lawsuits could keep this whole vote on the sidelines before the midterm. So with all these lawsuits and potential injunctions and so forth, do you think it's going to be there for the midterms, these new lines, or not?
I'm certainly hoping not. Our concern with the court, and people may not realize this, but in Virginia, the judges are appointed by the legislature. And so for them to do the right thing here, they know they then sit for reappointment in front of those same people who they have just overturned the will of the General Assembly. And so that's a real challenge that we have. And I do believe that ultimately a court should overrule this without question. To me, it's not even a gray area. We had fraudulent language. So I think it's certainly possible that this could end up not being in play for the midterms. It's very hard to predict what the men in black robes, as the old expression used to say, are going to do.
Yeah, very difficult. And here's the thing. The Democrats were, of course, taking a victory lap on this. And I would advise them to take a look at the numbers. It was less than 3%, the margin of victory for those that want to create new districts. Less than 3%, which means the Republicans gained ground from where they were in 2025. They gained grounds from where they were in 2024. It means the Republicans outperformed them. And so if they think it's going to be a cakewalk, you might want to walk back that victory dance a little bit. What do you think?
Yeah, no question. It was a close race. It was a great turnout for a special election, a stunningly high turnout for a day in April when we don't ordinarily vote. And furthermore, $75 million or so spent to try to deceive the voters. And when the voters walked into the ballot box, we saw the words, "Do you want to restore fairness?" That's what we were told we were voting on. So the summary of the ballot was utterly distorted. And so, of course, the fact that it was that close tells you that with fair language, with a reasonable lineup of funds, we could have absolutely had a win with the no vote. And so I think they should be concerned. Let's put it that way. They were selling a lie. They spent $75 million to sell it. And they were successful, but not by much.
Yeah, and here's the big criticism of Republicans at the national level. They didn't put in much money or much time to fight this. If the Republicans had rolled up their sleeves and put some more money into this deal in Virginia, it might not have turned out this way at all. Your thoughts on that? Last question.
incredibly disappointing that we did not receive more national money flooding into Virginia, because again, the rest of the country now starts 4 seats down if this is to hold. So it's stunning that a little bit of money could have gone a long way. And I would even say even more money earlier, even if we hadn't had a different dollar amount, if we had it earlier to work with, I think you'd see a different result. The other side was left unanswered on the airwaves for like a month. You just can't climb up against that at the last minute.
Well, like they say, Victoria, the fight has just begun. We will have you back for updates because it's going to be in the news for the next several weeks and or months and or years. Virginia Cobb, thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Greatly appreciate it. There you have it from Virginia. Let's get right back to the phone lines. Dave is in Michigan. Dave, how are you today?
Good. You?
I'm doing well. What's on your mind?
Say, I was just wondering what your thoughts are on Anthony Hudson, running for governor there. He, he talks a good talk, and it seems like that, the Republican Party here doesn't really welcome him. But, I was just curious what you think of him.
I think he's a good guy. I don't have any issues with him at all. The problem is he's not showing up in the polls. Currently, you have Perry Johnson leading in the last poll that was taken. John James, who was thought to be the shoo-in, the current member of Congress, has slipped a point behind. So I think it's down to those two guys, to be fair. But they're all welcome here on the program. You know that. We'll talk to anybody, anytime. Thank you for the phone call, Dave. Let's see. Karen is in Pennsylvania. Karen, good morning.
Yes. Hello. My main reason for calling today is about class action suits from sea to shining sea. The people need a way to vent their rage and anger and go after the money and everything that has been taken from them. Nothing more important than our precious children have been destroyed.
Yeah, I agree with
The
that.
money that these people get also from the United States, we watched it go from Ukraine back to Philadelphia. It all comes from here. I see the pain in the faces of these people now. They're starting to realize this money may be drying up.
Yeah.
Let's hope so.
I appreciate the phone call. The fact of the matter is these federal district judges should not be able to issue injunctions from sea to shining sea, as you put it, Karen, at all. They're basically local judges trying to take over the entire country. There are hundreds of them. It's not how it's supposed to work. It needs to be brought to an end. That's where the Supreme Court must weigh in. They must. More calls after this. All right, back to it. Let's get right to the phone lines. Dwayne is in Michigan today. Dwayne, how are you?
From the Gold Coast of Michigan, my man.
All
Where's
right.
the coverage on northern Michigan flooding? Hey, these are downstate voters. Haven't heard a peep out of Slocum or Peters, Hey, I'd have Trump up there doing flyovers and get that FEMA funding.
Well, you'd like to think. I had Jack Bergman, the congressman that represents that area. You had a big tornado in Gaylord. You had a huge ice storm early last year. You got massive flooding this year. Northern Michigan has had its tail kicked recently, and pretty good tail kicking. I would agree with that. I think that we need more FEMA money, that's for sure.
They're all downstater voters, man. Those are the ones you want to take and swing to our side.
You got that right, Dwayne. Thank you for the phone call. Greatly appreciate it. Pay attention. Michigan's gotten just beaten up there. He's not wrong. Big floods, big ice storms, big everything lately. Let's get to Wanda in Texas. Wanda, how are you today?
Hello?
Hello, Wanda. What's on your mind?
I love God. I love Trump. I love y'all, and happy birthday to you.
Anthony.
Anthony?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think we need to seriously fire those senators up there in Washington. We got everything in the states. Why do we need them up there?
Well, I could not agree with you more.
Also,
Thank you.
There's power, greed, and hate up there, and we don't need any more of that. I mean, we need to fire them. Take away their what do you
all
call
their perks.
Their,
yeah. I agree, Wanda. These people in D.C. are getting rich at my expense, and I don't like it. Thank you for the call from Texas. Could hear the birds chirping this morning in Texas. Look, it's our country. Give me the Save America Act now. Lower my taxes now. Get rid of the death tax now. I mean, do something. Grow a spine if you're a Republican, please. Because if you don't, we're going to replace you. Clear? Good. Speaking of one of the members of Congress, we'll have one up next, Tim Walberg. I don't want to replace him. I kind of like him most of the time on his decisions. Don't agree on everything, but most things. All right? He's coming up. All right, back to it now. My next guest is a member of Congress. But I will say this, and I'm going to let Tim Wahlberg from Michigan 5 weigh in on this. Congressman, good morning. I will say this. My concern is not with you. My concern is with John Thune and the Senate Republicans who refuse to get rid of the filibuster, refuse to put the Save America Act on with reconciliation, which they're talking about to get the DHS funded, which that's great. I appreciate that. They should get DHS funded. But the problem is not on the House side with the Republicans primarily. I mean, I have my issues there sometimes, but really the logjam right now to get things done that Americans support. I mean, look, 80% of Americans are behind the Save America Act. You know that. And several other things. It's the I mean, I hate for you to take shots at your Senate Republican colleagues, but good grief. Get off the couch. Your thoughts?
Well, yeah, it's a tough road to hoe for John Thune with some of the Republicans he has. And again, like the House, a very, very slim majority. But when you have Lisa Murkowski, Tom Tillis, and others, that it is difficult. But I have said all along that the time has come to end the filibuster. It's not Constitution. It's not required. It's a Senate rule. And bottom line is, when the Senate was elected by the state legislature, it was a different story. They could pull these guys home if they wanted to, if they weren't representing the state of Michigan, for instance. They could pull them home. Filibuster didn't make that much difference in the scheme of things. But now when it's popularly elected by the largest population spots in the state, like Detroit and Grand Rapids and add Flint and others to it, all of a sudden you don't have a representative senator. So in the end, I don't think that the filibuster is working. The Democrats will do away with it as soon as they get majority again, if they do. So I think the reality is, let's do what we need to do now to turn this country around, to give a president who's making America great again and really doing some great things for the entire world. Give him a chance to complete what he needs to do in these next two and a half years. So, yeah, I have concern about it. The House has passed the SAVE Act twice. We passed the one big, beautiful bill with a tax cut. It's 27% savings for the people in my district, and I think that's generally across the country. No tax on tips, no tax on overtime, no tax on Social Security for 88% of the Social Security recipients. The death tax, we took off the impact of the death tax, except for the most wealthy. Farmers love the fact that we've saved them from seeing their progeny have to sell the farm after they die in order to pay the death tax. So there's some good things that have happened, but the Save America Act, funding Homeland Security, specifically ICE and Customs and Border, has to be done. And that's why I think the Senate ultimately has to wake up and say, it's time to move a reconciliation, but I think even more so to do away with the filibuster.
Completely agree with everything you've just said. And before we came on, we were talking a little bit about the death tax as well, which is something we find so egregious. And historically, we've seen farms get broken up because they're land rich but cash poor. And in order to satisfy the inheritance tax, farms were broken up, and therefore we can't afford to continue to lose farms, whether to bankruptcy or to breakups this way. But you pointed out to me, and it's important that you share this with the folks, the big beautiful bill gave some relief, at least to farmers in this area. Tell me.
Yeah, it did. I mean, it expanded the level that death tax would kick in. So the majority of people, and especially farmers, when you think they're land rich and income basically poor, it's a tough thing for them. So we have to make sure that continues. But it's for small businesses too. The impact can be there as well. It was never supposed to be the case that you work all your life, you build up a business, you pass it on your family, they have to sell it because the death taxes are too high. Taxes are too high anyway, but I mean, go back to Biden. Taxes increased, spending increased, inflation increased, everything increased. And I'm hoping that America has a resolve right now to say, we don't want to go back there. We just have to look at Mandami. We have to look at the Democrat Party in the state of Michigan and the clown show that went.
You know, the greatest example here in the last 3 months is, without question, Virginia. They came in with 50 new taxes: a dog grooming tax, dog walking tax. If you repair your house, there's a tax on that. You repair your car, there's a tax on that. They got tanning beds in there. They got everything in there. right? I mean, it's unbelievable. And if you think that that wouldn't happen in your state, wherever you may live, you are mistaken, right?
Yeah, I mean, just think a little bit about what it was a year and a half ago.
Yeah.
Think about the 4 years under Biden. Think about how they hid the fact that he was totally incompetent to lead this country. Think about the fact that what they did was give more government control over all of our lives, and it didn't work. Everything went up. Gas prices were higher than what they are now, and yet we have complaints about what they are now, but it's because of a war situation and a global fuel economy that impacts us. But it'll be short-lived. We saw when there was hope for the ceasefire and an ending that the barrel of oil went down from $110 a barrel to $83 a barrel almost overnight. So it will happen. But I think right now people have to wake up to the fact that if we decide to go the other way, we get just what we had for the last 4 years before Trump, thankfully, survived assassination attempts and survived the attempts in the so-called Justice Department to put him in jail, and it ended up being our president is doing exactly what he said he would do.
Yeah.
And that's
well,
where
what you have now are political assassination attempts. Look, if the Democrats take control of the House, it's going to be nothing but chaos and impeachment. You've got people out there like Hakeem Jeffries who will lie about anything. It's remarkable to me. You know, and then I see members of the U.S. Senate on the Democrat side say, nobody's ever called to defund ICE. And I'm like, and that was from the senator in the state of Washington. And I'm like, really? Does she actually have a TV or any information? Anyhow, we can do this, and I believe that. Last word to you. What's it going to take?
Well, I think it takes the people calling their senators. Our two senators need to hear from people saying, this isn't political. This is my lifestyle. This is my family's future. It's time to get it done. Why should we be insecure because we don't have the appropriate agencies in place now being paid? Why do we have to worry about going to the airport and having TSA unpaid and only paid at the graces of the president, who was able to move funds from other budget areas? But that can't last much longer. Get government working for the people again. And I think that means that just stop everything the Republicans want to do because Donald Trump could receive benefit from that. That's not American. And so call your senators, tell them to vote. Your Republican House members are voting right on tax cuts, on the one big beautiful bill, on funding our security needs, and on the SAVE Act. Every single Republican representing Michigan has voted the right way multiple times. Now we need our senators to do the same.
Congressman, good talking to you. I think a lot of people agree with that. They're not pleased with John Thune out here. I can guarantee you, in the flyover states, we don't like it a bit, and he's in one of those states. Grow a spine, Senator, would be the advice here. We got to run, Congressman, but greatly appreciate it. You have a great weekend.
Have a great Pure Michigan weekend.
There you have it, my friend. Congressman Tim Walberg from Michigan 5 here. We're going to gather more of your phone calls from Texas, Iowa, South Carolina, and so much more still to come here. You can always send me an email at stevegruber.com. Make sure you follow me on all those social media platforms. Tell your friends and gather around the campfire every morning here, beginning at 6 a.m. We get up early to get you started and make you the best educated audience anywhere. We'll be right back. All right, welcome back to it. We're going to get right back to the phone lines on a Free Speech, Free for All Friday. You know, I just love having this conversation with you all over the country because we get a feel for where people are all over this country. And this is an America First feeling here today. It really is. Let's go to Rick in Iowa. Rick in the Heartland, how are you?
Good morning to you and Ivy.
Good morning.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can.
I'd like to talk about marijuana. I used to take 30-some pills a day from the doctors, almost died. Quit taking them, started smoking marijuana, now I'm on 3 pills.
So that works for you. And I think it works for a lot of people. And the point that I've made from the beginning is this. If it helps people like you or anybody else, I fully support that. What I don't have support for is a marijuana shop on every corner. Here in Michigan, there's like a weed shop on every corner, which normalizes it. And unfortunately, as we see these gummies get in the hands of kids in elementary school, we see high school kids getting marijuana. Look, this is not the same weed that was around when I was in high school. And look, I went to college. All right, I was no angel. I get it. But having marijuana that's 90% more potent than it was, 40 years ago in the hands of 14-year-olds, not a good thing, is it?
No, I agree. It should be medical.
Yeah, there you go. And
another thing, I think.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Go ahead.
It should be medical, but it should be reasonable access to it. If you have a need like you do, or you've got whatever, make it reasonable access. Don't make the pillar, the bar too high to get it. If you want it and you're an adult and you think you need it for medical reasons, make it reasonable to get to. But having it just legalized everywhere, I mean, look at Colorado. Look at Michigan. First of all, you never get the money they promise you. Oh, it's going to be all this money for this and that. We're going to fix this and all this tax money. It never works out that way because you've got law enforcement issues. You've got enforcement issues. You've got inspection issues. You've got all these things, right? And it becomes a drain on public resources oftentimes. I mean, run the numbers, friends. And I agree. If you have a medical issue, I'm all for it. But to have it available on every corner for everybody all the time, yeah, I have a problem with that. Rick, good call. Really appreciate it. William, South Carolina, you're next.
Hey, good morning to you and Ivy also.
Yeah, what's on your mind?
I want to talk about smoking. I want to talk about smoking. I've known people and everyone that smoked until they were 80 years old, never had any problems. I always thought, this is not going to happen to me. I'm 60 years old and just got diagnosed with emphysema, and I've smoked since I was 14. Emphysema is a death sentence. You can maintain it, you can live longer and everything, but it is a progressive disease. Smoking will kill you. There's no doubt about it. It will do it and everything. And the thing about marijuana is it is 500 times stronger than it was in the 70s and 80s when I smoked it in the 80s. Today, it destroys your short-term memory. I can remember all the way back to when I was 4 years old now, but I cannot remember things from an hour ago. It destroys your short-term memory. And
William, really appreciate the phone call.
Really, it's really, people just need to wise up because smoking it will kill anyone. And believe me, I've had no heart disease in my family or anything like that. Smoking, I've also had 4 stents put in my heart. That costs, talk about medical bills today, 4 stents and 8 hours worth of stents in there. I'm glad they went in because when he went in, the first thing he said is, uh-oh, and you're awake during stents being put in.
Wow,
I said,
that's no fun.
Well, your heart's 80% clogged, and that cost me $225,000, almost $250,000 for 4 stents put in my heart.
There you have it, William. A good lesson. Sorry about your diagnosis. Sorry about that. But that, look, we've known this for decades. We've known this as long as I've been alive. Leanne in Texas, how are you today?
Hi, good morning, Steve.
Good morning. What's on your mind?
Well, I'm a 3-time Trump voter, and I've been to a couple rallies. I love your show, and I love Real America's Voice, but here's my beef. I've been working since I've been 16 years old. My grandfather was a Marine in Iwo Jima. Both my mother and father were Marines. I've raised an American family, and I'm 54 years old. 3 years ago, I got diagnosed with 2 autoimmune diseases. Long story short, I filed for disability. I've waited 3 years, and I finally get in to meet with the judge with my attorney, and I get denied. And yet, all these illegal immigrants get all this stuff for free. I mean, I cannot believe it. I'm going to be, and I have no medical. I can't afford a medical. It was up $1,000 a month. Yep. I'm just so frustrated. I just cannot believe it. And then, the fraud. So I'm sitting here sick, almost ready to be evicted and I've raised 2 families.
And they're stealing your money. There's no question, Leanne. They're stealing your money. They're stealing your future. But I appreciate the call. I got to leave it there. Another cautionary tale for you. Another great partner. If you're tired of thin, lifeless hair, if you cringe every time you see another clump in the shower drain, then your hair probably needs more protein. Just like our muscles lose protein as we age and atrophy, our hair loses protein as well. Leads to thin, dry, and brittle strands. That's where Hydrolift Volumizing Shampoo from Purance comes in. Hydrolift contains wheat protein that strengthens your hair follicles from deep within. This transforms thin and lifeless hair into fuller, more resilient locks. It also contains betaine from sugar beets, which draws water into your strands, making your hair feel silky soft. Right now, you can try Hydrolift Volumizing Hair Shampoo, risk-free. Save 35% with the discount Sunrise. Head over to Purance.com to shop and save 35%. Purance, by the way, and many other fantastic products. If you're looking to rejuvenate your skin, hair, or nails, this is the place. USDA certified organic. They're great for your body and the environment. Again, you can save 35% on your entire order with the discount code EARLY. Go to Purance.com. Do that today. Shop and save. It's your Friday courtesy, all right? Free speech, Free for All Friday continues. I've got something really special. We were talking about UFOs, right? Oh, I got something for you after the break. You're gonna love it after this. All right, we've been talking about this morning with you, America. What if the biggest story in human history has been sitting right in front of us? What if we're only being allowed to see it? Coming Monday at 9 o'clock, Ivy and I sit down with the best-selling author and investigator, Kent Heckenlively. He's been asking a question a lot of people are starting to take seriously. What does the government actually know about UFOs? That's right, UFOs. And why are they not telling us? We're talking Pentagon reports, congressional hearings, whistleblowers, and what he calls a slow, controlled disclosure of information that maybe it's been hidden for decades. Is it about aliens? Is it about advanced technology or something we don't even understand yet? And maybe the bigger question, if they've kept this quiet, what else aren't they telling us? Maybe a lot? It's the kind of conversation that pulls you in and doesn't let go. You can find Forgotten America, the podcast, on my YouTube channel. Just search Steve Gruber. Subscribe now. It's free. Do not miss this episode. It drops Monday morning at 9 a.m. Here's a preview. You know, what I don't understand, Kent, is we've seen the videos. This video we just played. Well, there's 1,000 videos that can be played of different angles and incidents and things. And I've seen what she's seen. I've seen what everybody's seen things. It's not like it's going to be a shock to anybody. What are they so afraid of? Why not just say, okay, here's the deal. Beginning in 1850, we had encounters with X, Y, and Z. And then in 1900, and then in World War II, the Foo Fighters. And then Roswell, or whatever. I mean, nobody believes what they're peddling. Most people don't, anybody who gives it much thought. So what are they afraid of?
See, this is what I've been trying to get to the bottom of. And I have some ideas on what could be so terrifying that it could shake our worldview.
There it is. What could be so terrifying that would shake your worldview? You want to hear this conversation, man. He digs deep. And you can find it right there. It's on your screen. Just click that with your phone, right? Just click that with your phone. Take you right to YouTube. And you can get on board or just search Steve Gruber on YouTube. It's free to subscribe. Forgotten America, the podcast. All right? The podcast. You're going to love this. And we're going to love the fact that you got more phone calls coming up in the next hour here on a Free Speech, Free for All Friday. For those of you on Real America's Voice, Sunrise is next. For the rest of you, we continue the phone calls on the MTN networks, and we'll be right back.
America's awake, and we're just getting started. The headlines that matter, the stories they won't tell you, and the voices fighting to be heard. This is your country, your morning, your daybreak with Steve and Ivy Gruber. A new hour starts right now.
All right, welcome to it as we dive right back into a brand new hour here. Glad that you are sticking with it, my friends, on a Free Speech, Free for All Friday. Three big things this hour. Number one, the price of gas creeping back up as oil has creeped back up. Is there still issues to be solved in the Strait of Hormuz? We know that. Number two, Israel and Lebanon came to Washington to discuss peace. Can you imagine? This is what Donald Trump has done. He's gotten Israel and Lebanon to sit down for the first time in decades. And number three, it is Free Speech, Free for All Friday. Right? Free Speech, Free for All Friday. Your chance to weigh in the Patriot Mobile Common Sense Hotline, 877-310-9966. 877-310-9966. I want to play something here because every Friday, and I'm going to get Ivy to weigh on this a bit later too, but I want to go to bite number 8, Anthony. Dumbest thing I've heard all week. Here is a state senator from the state of Virginia, right? He says he understands country folks because he watched TV when he was growing up. So he understands country folks. It's the dumbest thing I've heard all week. Listen to this.
And listen, I almost took issue with the other side saying that we don't understand. But I grew up watching the Waltons. I grew up with Opie. I even watched the Dukes of Hazzard.
Come on, man. All right, enough.
I think I know a little bit about rural America.
He knows about rural America because he watched the Dukes of Hazzard. That's who's serving in Virginia. Oh, good Lord. He watched it, and he knew who Opie was on the Andy Griffith Show, and he watched the Waltons. So he understands rural America. This guy got elected. This guy won an election, or 2 or 3. I understand country folks because I met Anthony. That's how I do it around here. Yeah. Anyhow, happy birthday, Anthony. Let's go to the phone lines. We're going to start with Chad in Michigan. He probably watched the Dukes of Hazzard, too. Chad, how are you today?
Good, I'm good. Yeah, I watched the Dukes of Hazzard when I was younger.
Yeah, did that educate you about country folk? Is that how you learn about country folk, by watching?
Oh, no. I'm from your district where your congressman was on there in Michigan, and I'm calling about the Save America Act.
All right.
Actually.
Go ahead.
I think there's a bigger issue than us electing them out if they don't pass this. I think that this country is prized on its peaceful transfer of power. That's one of our crown jewels as a nation.
Absolutely.
And I think this is a national security threat, that when you got 80% of the country wanting something, and we have no right to peacefully and patriotically go air out our grievance, right? They've already proved that. If they cheat this election again, what does that leave, Steve, as an option?
What is the recourse? It's a great question. And the question, Chad, I'll expand it a little bit. Who are these people beholden to? Who is Lisa Murkowski getting paid by? Who is Tom Tillis getting paid by? Who are the people that are actively blocking the Save America Act in the United States Senate? Alleged Republicans, which those two really are not. You know, you will get one Democrat. You will get Fetterman, I believe. You should, because he believes in elections that are fair and safe. Look, John Solomon has got the goods. That the Chinese Communist Party was able to gain access to at least 18 states' databases. One of those states is Alaska. All right, one of those states is Alaska. So when Lisa Murkowski sees the facts dropped on her desk, which she will soon, how does she not vote for the Save America Act? I think she's going to be in a difficult position, Chad. I think she's going to be forced to support what she hasn't supported so far. But the recourse, Chad, you are right on it. Let's go to Tony in Indiana. Tony, welcome to the program.
Hello, Mr. Gruber. How are you?
I am lovely, my friend.
Listen, I wanted to ask you a question that's kind of different on topic.
All right.
When 28 comes, can you write in Trump? I'm not saying he would want to, but if he thought so, could we write his name in? Is that legal?
I believe you could write it in, but I don't think it counts. I mean, look, the amendment is the amendment.
Yep. The other thing I wanted to say, sir, is why haven't, since the Obamas, the Clintons, and the Bidens, they're all guilty of treason, what they've done to Trump. And I would love to see them perp walked.
Well, they're not guilty. Hold on. To be fair, Tony, to be fair, they are not guilty of treason under the United States Constitution. They're not the way it's written. Now, having said that, if they aided and abetted our enemies, they would be guilty of treason in this country. But the definition of treason in this document that I hold in my hand almost daily, if not every day, I pick this up and read parts of it, is a very narrow definition of treason. I appreciate your sentiment, but unless you're aiding and abetting the enemy and giving them comfort, you're not guilty. And you have to be witnessed by more than one person and so on and so forth. Let's go to Robert in West Virginia. Robert, good morning.
Good morning, Gene. God bless you.
How you doing?
You there?
Yeah, I'm there. What's on your mind?
I can't hardly hear you. Hey, my question to you is they work for us, Schumer and Thune. Is there any way that we could actually 35 million voters, whatever, petition them out? If not, would you be willing to do a test run on your show to show and have people call in and vote whether they vote them in or vote them out, or say he should go? I think we should have some kind of power where if he's not doing his job, we, the people, should be able to vote him out by petition. If nothing else, you tell us scare and tell them to show him on TV if we did it live on your show.
I like your idea, but to be fair, and I appreciate that, Robert, but to be fair, the audience here might be a bit pro-conservative. The audience here might be pro-right of center. Just a guess on my part, so it might not be a fair evaluation. But it does bring me back to the fact that I still believe the 17th Amendment of the United States Constitution was by far the worst amendment we've ever had, the 17th, because the way the United States Senate is supposed to work, they're supposed to be selected by the state legislatures of the many states. That's the way it was in the Constitution. It was changed in 1913, so there was direct election of senators, making them really no different than members of Congress. And if we had never had the 17th Amendment, this country would not be in the trouble that it's in, because what would happen is you would have, currently in Michigan, maybe 2 Republicans. In many states, you'd have a lot more Republican senators, because the state legislatures, of which there are about 28 or 29 now, that are Republican, they would select Republican representation in Washington. But instead, every 6 years, you end up with something that's a little bit off kilter, if you will. Got to leave it there. Good stuff. We need the Save America Act. There's no question about it. It's not debatable. You've got to get it through come hell or high water. All right, we'll take a break. Free speech, free for all Friday. All right, let's get back to it now with the best-looking, most talented, most accomplished attorney in the history of the world, Steve Doolin, everybody. Come on down, Doolin. Man in black. Oh, there he is. Doolin, you weren't there for a second. Now you see him.
I was watching so brightly, the camera shorted out.
Yeah, I have that problem all the time. All right, so big topic today. I pointed out here earlier this week. When you and I were kids, Doolin, more than 20% of Americans smoked cigarettes. Adults, right? Now it's down to about 6%. And I had a listener ask me, well, what's the percentage of marijuana smokers? And I'm like, that's a really good question. I don't know the answer. But I'm going to guess it's maybe as high as cigarettes. No pun intended. Maybe as high as cigarette smoking. But it still comes back to something we were talking about. And you being the expert on gun ownership and gun laws on this program, the president working to decriminalize and reclassify marijuana so it's not a what do they call it? Schedule 1. Yeah.
Yep.
But it doesn't change the fact that if you are a habitual user of marijuana, you are prohibited from gun ownership in America. Is that correct?
That's exactly right. So the fact that, there was a lot of news recently about how marijuana got rescheduled from Schedule 1, which is kind of the double secret probation of the Harrison Act, down to Schedule 3. All
Right.
that means is that the feds can allow research. Prior to this rescheduling, it was nearly impossible to research THC in marijuana. It was still done, but for a while there, the feds actually had a weed farm. I believe it was somewhere in Virginia, owned on federal property, and that was the only weed that could be researched. Now, as you're aware, since the states have decriminalized,
But hold on. I'm confused, Doolin. A well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. It doesn't say unless you're smoking weed. It doesn't say unless you're drunk. It doesn't say unless you're beating your wife. It doesn't say unless anything.
Right. Shall not be infringed.
Shall not be. So you're a daily user of marijuana. It doesn't say you lose your constitutional rights. It doesn't say here in the First Amendment you can say whatever you want unless you're stoned. Doesn't say that.
Well, no, but in fact, there is a case, you're making some of the arguments that were made. There's a case pending at U.S. Supreme Court right now on this very issue of whether it's okay to infringe upon Second Amendment rights because someone's a habitual user of marijuana. Now, the government's argument was and is that it's actually okay to do this infringement because it's similar to the habitual drunkard rule that was commonly accepted back in times of the framing of the Constitution.
It may have been accepted back then. It's not in the words.
Right.
It's not written here.
Right. But as you're aware, the Constitution means what the Supreme Court says it means. And the Supreme Court has taken on this issue and is considering the issue. And they're considering your argument, which is,
Which they
textually
should,
based.
because my argument is brilliant. Go on.
Of course. and it is, it really is. Shall not be infringed is strong language, right?
Well, the point is this. If you're a drunkard, a drug user, whatever you might be, whatever kind of scoundrel you might be, as long as you're not a convicted felon, right?
But
It doesn't say my rights are predicated on whether I smoke dope or drink whiskey. It doesn't say that.
Okay, but ever since Bruin from a couple of years ago, the standard is that the government can support infringements on the Second Amendment if their infringements are analogous to, if they're close cousins to, rules that were in place at the time that was written. So if they are, then they're going to be upheld. If
here's the problem.
If they're relatively new inventions, they'll get struck down.
Back to my brilliant arguments. The problem with me on that is this. All right, you open that door. And then the next door is, Mr. Gruber, he's part of a cult. He's a white supremacist. He whatever you want to label me with. That should prohibit him because he's been mind washed and brainwashed, and he therefore. Once you open that door and start making exceptions to what the privilege is, you should not be allowed to speak because you're a member of a Christian church. You should not be allowed to speak because you're white. You should not be allowed to own a gun because you smoke dope and you're white, or whatever. Come on. The document, to me, is a document that's black and white. And we'll see how they rule, but I have a real issue with this.
Well, the practical matter for people in the states where marijuana has been legalized or decriminalized or liberalized is that the schedule change doesn't change the legal status of marijuana. And there's a separate crime for lying on the form when you buy a gun from the gun dealer. It's called a Form 4473. And signing one of those forms that has an untrue statement. In other words, if someone were to check, no, I am not a habitual user of or addicted to a controlled substance, and then sign it, that's a 10-year felony in and of itself. And then being caught in possession of a gun while the court determines that you are a habitual user of or addicted to a controlled substance is a separate 15-year felony. So people can get in real trouble. And there's sort of a rumor mill on the internet that this rescheduling from Schedule 1 to Schedule 3 somehow changes that, and it doesn't. And in fact, the Solicitor General of the U.S. sent a letter to the U.S. Supreme Court yesterday on this issue saying this doesn't change anything as far as we're concerned. So I agree with you philosophically. However, there are real people out there who can get in real trouble and go to real prison if they're not careful.
So here's the takeaway then. Smoke them if you got them, but don't get caught. I guess, and until further notice, right? I mean, that's it. Just be mindful. And don't believe everything you see on the internet. That's another pretty good takeaway. You got 10 seconds.
And that's fair. Don't take legal advice from the internet or police officers.
Or a police officer. There's news I can live with. Doolin, you are the most incredible attorney ever. Thank you for being here.
Thanks, Gruber, to the best host on the airwaves.
My Oura Ring gave me an A for the day. The Oura Ring monitors your sleep and a whole lot more. Apparently does a whole host of things that I didn't even realize, but that's what I get for not reading all the instructions. But the good news is it told me I had a great night's sleep, and I said, yes, I know, because I was in my ghost bed. We've been using the ghost bed now for a few weeks. And ghost bed is an American-made sleeping system, not a mattress, a sleeping system. Engineered and patented much of it. And their beds are serious health equipment, designed for relief and recovery, not looks, not fluff. Your body should be healing when you sleep, not fighting for comfort. Look, if you're waking up stiff, tossing and turning, not sleeping right, sleeping hot, even taking pain meds before you go to bed, well, that's probably not a good indication that your mattress is working for you. Here's the thing. Get an American-made ghost bed. You can use it for 101 nights, no risk. If you don't like it or don't feel the difference, send it back risk-free. And GhostBed offering my audience the lowest prices of the season and an extra 10% off. GhostBed.com. Promo code is Gruber. GhostBed.com. Promo code Gruber. Get the best price on an American-made bed. I want to go out to Billings, Montana right now. Let's see here. Mike is in Billings, Montana. Love that place. Mike, how are you?
Good.
What's on your mind?
Well, Steve, I don't understand one thing. All these congressmen and everything, when they get office, they take an oath to protect and defend the Constitution. And then you got people like Bernie Sanders, AOC, Elon Omar. They go and the first thing they want to do is burn the Constitution and go for support for socialism or communism, whatever it is they stand for. And I don't understand why these people are not minimum at least kicked out of office,
right?
Or not in jail for breaking their oath. I remember that Hobbs down in wherever, when she was taking her off, when they came to that part about protecting and defending the Constitution, she laughed.
That's
and the
right.
mainstream media never said anything about it.
That's right.
I mean, everybody that protects this country takes that oath, and no wonder kids.
They should uphold the oath. Mike, you're exactly right. Mike, I love Billings, by the way. I used to live in Bozeman. Love Billings, love Montana. But here's the thing. You're exactly right. These people want the Constitution to be whatever they think it is, not what it actually is. There's the disconnect. The Constitution is not up for debate. Well, mostly. Back after this. All right, back to it. It's a busy Friday. You know, they're all busy days. Fridays, we get so much going on with the people calling and so forth. Just enjoy it. Free speech, free for all Friday. Joining me now is Rep. Sarah Leitner, chair of the House Judiciary Committee. Sarah, thank you for joining me.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
All right. The lawmakers are now targeting gaps in the registry to help protect kids more. And it's legislation your committee passed this week that will keep children safe and provide clarity for parents. You need to provide clarity for us. Explain what we're talking about here and why it's so important.
Well, one of the loopholes in the law is employment restrictions for registered sex offenders. Right now, basically, once you're on the registry, you've been convicted, you've done your time, there's no restriction on other employment. And that could include a martial arts studio, a dance studio, day camps, arts and artsy-fartsy stuff, classes like that. And so we actually had this in some communities where a registered sex offender was actually teaching a martial arts class. And because, it's not a school, it's not under the current restrictions right now, it wasn't a crime. But you're putting all those people at risk. And, we did have testimony on this. It was robust. The day that we did have testimony, we had people in opposition. I had parents of registered sex offenders come to me and they're like, well, what if it's your son? They need a second chance. And I'm like, that's fine. There's plenty of employment opportunities, but it's not going to be with people that they can prey on.
Well, and that's incredibly important, right? So this is a complex issue, right? I knew a guy many years ago now, and I want to clarify this because this is important. If you're a certified sex offender, obviously we don't want them around the kids, right? I knew a guy a number of years ago that while a student in college was cited for public urination, all right? He drank too much or probably whatever. And he was like a class 4 sexual offender. That's what they made him plead guilty to. And so is there a delineation here between the levels of sex offender, or are they all pushed into the same bucket?
Well, right now, it's all pushed into the same bucket. I do understand that. I mean, I went to school with a guy, same situation. I also went to school with someone who got a statutory rape charge, right? And was, but he later went on to marry her, and they're still married to this day, have kids, in school.
And he's still a sex offender, allegedly.
Well, allegedly, yes.
Right.
But,
my point being is there should be some, and look, I'm not defending sex offenders. You're a rapist, you're a child molester, whatever. Obviously, those are people you don't want around the kids, but we have to have some sensibility here. If you're urinating in public because you're a 19-year-old drunk college kid, that doesn't make you a sex offender, not in my estimation. If you marry the woman that you allegedly, she was too young and you were too, and I don't know the specific of that, this is not who we're talking about, right?
Right. No, these are sexual predators. I mean, this has happened before. We know this has happened. Individual reps in our own community have had to deal with this situation. And then to come in and testify before our committee, some of these parents did that and said, listen, I just figured those type of people wouldn't be able to teach my kids. I didn't do a background check on the dojo or the martial arts studio before I sent my kid there. And this is just an extra protection. Is there more work to be done? Sure. Especially with all the controversy around SORA in general, the sex offender registry list. Now we are still continuing to work through that process, but it's very lengthy. And I think this was a great first step. And I was actually very disappointed it didn't have unanimous support in committee. That's, I think.
In fairness, Sarah, does anything have unanimous support in any committee ever anymore? I mean, honestly.
Well, once in a while you have a little something that everyone can agree on.
We agree. Let's have lunch. Yeah. Other than that.
Much.
Yeah. But it is, I'm in agreement with you. Make no mistake. But I think that there needs to be some adjustments because when it comes to this and so many other things, a one-size-fits-all solution gets rammed through. It has ramifications and collateral damage that's unintended in the consequences, and we need to look at that. We need to be fair about our application.
There's an exception to every rule. You know that. I mean, There's always an exception to something. And it is something that you have to look case by case. But as a blanket situation to cover the whole, those are onesie-twosie situations that we can account for. But to account for the whole, for the majority of the people that are there, you know, I think this is something that's good legislation. It's good policy, and that we need to get through to protect our communities. Is there more work to be done? Yes. And we've been working through that process with our legal team as well in the House. And we'll continue to do that because I would like to make it better as well. But again, like you just said, you can't blanket cover every single situation.
That's right.
But this is the bulk of it, and I think it's good. It's good policy, and you know, it is what it is.
Yeah,
People
it
worry
is.
about
So,
the second chances with their sex offender convictions, and don't be a
here's
pervert
my
or be a
question.
weirdo.
Even without a unanimous bit of support in the committee, does it make it to the governor's desk? Does it become law?
I would hope so. I mean, at the end of the day, even with some changes, I hope that the Senate will take it up. If they don't, shame on them. But to me, this is a public safety issue. It's not necessarily a Democrat issue or Republican issue. It is a people issue in protecting vulnerable people.
I agree with that. And I appreciate you sharing here. Come back and give us an update when it makes a little bit more progress, and we'll see if it does make it to the governor's desk and what might happen. Thank you.
Yeah, anytime.
Greatly appreciate it. Have a lovely Michigan weekend. There you have it. All right, listen, most health problems don't start with what you're missing. They start with what you are not absorbing, and that's exactly what Enzorb from Victory Nutrition International is designed to address. Here's the reality. If your digestion isn't working properly, it doesn't matter how good your supplements look on the label, your body can't use them. Absorption. It is the key. Enzorb supports digestion and nutrient absorption. So the things that you do take in actually get to do their job. Food, supplements, vitamins, whatever. No stimulants, no hype, just smart foundational support for gut function and your health, where energy, sleep, immunity, and metabolism all begin. Now, I like this approach. I do. It's logical. Fix the foundation first and then build from there. If you want to get more out of your nutrition and your supplements, take a look at Enzorb from VNI. That's Victory Nutrition International. You can find it at vni.life/Gruber. vni.life/Gruber. Enzorb from VNI. Because what you take in really does matter. All right, coming up in a moment, Ivy's going to be here. We still got phone calls on this Free Speech Free for All Friday to get to. A couple of those. We'll let Ivy weigh in on those callers as well as myself. Remember, if you don't want to call but you want to be heard, go to stevegruber.com. Send me an email. You've been doing a fine job of that, by the way. That's how I found that most of you are opposed to the idea of banning cigarettes. You don't like that idea at all. I guess I was a little surprised at the fact that it was pretty much 10-1 on that. 10-1. Interesting stuff. Also, follow us on YouTube. It's no charge. Become a subscriber. Check out the brand new edition of Forgotten America. It is the podcast Ivy and I do. This week, it's UFOs. UFOs with an expert. Real? Not real? Are we being hidden from the information? You don't want to miss any of this. Ivy will be here when we come back. Good morning.
Am I fucking high?
All right.
Okay.
And then what do we have here? All right, welcome back to it as we continue this remarkably fun Friday, Free Speech, Free for All Friday. The beautiful, the talented, the one, the only, the Ivy is right here. Ivy, good morning
Good
again.
morning.
Lovely to see you as always.
Oh, thank you.
All right, I've got a couple of phone calls I'd like to get to, if you don't mind.
Let's do it.
Let's go to Dave in Surprise, Arizona. Dave, good morning.
Thank you. Good morning to both you and Ms. Ivy. Appreciate the opportunity, sir.
Always. What's on your mind today?
Well, we're currently in day 459, and it's proven that the legislative branch is broken. It's day 459 of Trump 2.0. And as you probably know, for U.S. attorneys, which will be the basis of holding people accountable for 2020, for COVID-19, for J6, all the above, we need U.S. attorneys appointed and confirmed. And the Senate has confirmed 14 out of 94. So in addition to the SAVE Act, Leader Thune is completely failing we, the people.
You're exactly right about that.
Arizona, I have two Marxists as representatives in the Senate because of the poor 17th Amendment, as you pointed out earlier.
Yes,
Thank you.
worst
I
thing.
stepped on here. I apologize.
Oh, no, that's good. I appreciate it, Dave. You're exactly right. And I wonder if we could do recess appointments for those things. And that's what should happen. The president has it. Look, some of these people, and Ivy, we talk about this, some of these people that are Republicans act like they're Democrats. Like they're just sitting there. They kind of go through the paces and go through the motions, but it's like they're waiting for Trump to go away so they can return to normal and fill their pockets.
Oh, they're just on island time. Well, we'll get to that. Oh, we have to meet today? Oh, man.
Island
we actually
time.
have to do work today?
Oh, man. Yeah. We actually have to do what American people want.
Oh, man.
That's terrible. All right, let's get to Nick. Dave is exactly right, by the way. Let's get to Nick in California. Nick, how are you?
I'm good, Steve. The reason why I'm calling you is I don't understand what goes on in colleges today, as well as in media. Don't they realize the people that they're supporting are the same ones that brought down the Twin Towers and killed almost 3,000 Americans? I don't understand what's wrong with them. I thank God that my grandmother brought us up as Americans, and I get up early just to watch these shows, and it does me good. It fills me with pride again. But I'm so tired of watching this fake news and the kids on campus. I just don't know how this can stop.
Well, Nick, I appreciate that sentiment. I understand how you arrived there, but and thank you for the phone call. I will say this though, and Ivy and I have witnessed this with our youngest child, who is a teenager. Right? There seems to be a resurgence in a couple of things: faith and conservatism. Yeah. We went through it. I think that this new generation, those being between, I'm going to say 12 and 30 at this point, are becoming more conservative than any recent generation. That's good news. I hope it's enough to push us back in the right direction. But we see this, and we talk to his friends, we talk to the parents and the friend group and different things. Yeah, there's some liberals, but there's this big push to the right, isn't there?
There is, and I'm really hopeful for that. Although I go from back and forth on this, where I know that the culture is so pushing all of our young people to be, completely radical in their views in like anything goes society, right? So if you're gay or bisexual, or you just, want to go out there and have a good time and sleep with whoever you want all the time. I don't know. I always, I think that our young people are heading back towards conservatism and towards faithfulness. But man, there are times where it's just like there's so much noise that these kids get, especially in the public school system.
And on social media, they get pounded with this stuff.
Yeah.
And you are very
That too.
strict, in a good sense,
Yeah.
when it comes to what's available to our teenagers'
Right.
phone, right?
And we have control of that, but unfortunately, I don't have control of the people that maybe he and
Well, I understand
in
that,
his peer group and what they're looking at and what they're sharing and what they're talking about.
Now, in our group, in our friend groups and whatever, I think the parents are pretty similar in the way that they restrict, but not all of them. And I wonder about how many parents are just like, well, whatever, they're a single mom, they're a single dad, they got other things, they're busy, they're not paying attention at all
Right.
to what that kid is looking at 11 o'clock at night
Well, I
when
think
they think
too-
he's asleep or think she's asleep and they're on social media and the poison gets in.
Well, I think too, they think, well, what harm could it cause? Like,
Tremendous.
How much harm could it cause, for my kid to be online? I mean, because they're not looking at things and they're not, because these algorithms are catered to what you're looking at.
And pushing left-wing ideas. You said, I want to play
100%.
something for you. I want to play something
Well,
here for you.
really quickly, before we get too far down that road, I actually want to bring something up related to this.
All right.
So there's a popular pro-Trump MAGA influencer. Her name is Emily Hart, okay?
All right. I don't know her.
Huge popular pro-Trump female influencer. We have found out that she's completely fake. She's a AI-generated persona created by a young man in India to make money online.
It's not even real.
This account was run by a 22-year-old. He used Google Gemini. The fake influencer posted political, pro-Christian, and anti-immigration content, which is whatever. That's all fine, but it's completely fake. And so, you think about the people that you're following online, and you think that they're real, and then they're not.
But at least we have bots working for us finally.
We do.
I mean, I'd say that, and I want to go back to something I said, and I want people to consider this.
Mm-hmm.
When you listen to some of these quote-unquote conservative commentators that are all turning on Trump, who's paying their bills? I mean, we look at what happened with the Southern Poverty Law Center. They're paying the leaders of the Ku Klux Klan to go do bad things so they can scream about the Ku Klux Klan and promote the idea that white supremacy is everywhere. It's not.
Right.
It's a lie. It's always been a
they
lie.
had Ben Carson on there as
a purveyor of hate.
Correct.
Come on, Ben Carson, people.
He was like the first
The greatest
surgeon
man I've ever
to
met, one of them.
separate those twins.
Congenital joined twins, longest
Exactly.
surgery of congenitally joined twins ever. A remarkable human being, a remarkable American story, and they attack him anyhow. Ivy, I got to leave it there. Love you.
I love you, Steve.
Always good. I am going to play you a comment from Clarence Thomas after the break. You want to hear this. I want to mention one thing that we've talked about this week, Ivy, but we have not actually covered the way we should have, and I apologize for that. That is, Jocelyn Benson worked for the Southern Poverty Law Center. She is the leading candidate to be the governor of the state of Michigan. She worked for that fraudulent organization, smearing all sorts of good people like me and people like me and Ben Carson, as you mentioned. We haven't talked about that at all, but she worked there for years.
Interesting.
Yeah, so we'll get to that next week.
Well, I mean, I don't even understand. She can't even clean up the voter rolls in Michigan. How can she?
She doesn't
run
want
a state?
to.
Well, right. But she's been ordered to.
Yeah.
But I don't understand what the holdup is.
I think it was the state of Minnesota yesterday. The Democrats all voted against. I think it was Minnesota. All the Democrats voted against removing dead people from the voter rolls. You can't make it up.
Oh my gosh.
You can't make it up. All right, so I got one little bit of sound here from Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas ripping back the curtain on what progressivism really is. Here he is.
Progressivism seeks to replace the basic premises of the Declaration of Independence, and hence our form of government. It holds that our rights and our dignities come not from God, but from government. It requires of the people a subservience and weakness incompatible with a constitution premised on the transcendent origin of our rights.
And that covers it, doesn't it, Ivy?
It sure does.
Replace God with government. Make government your God. That's what progressivism is in a nutshell.
Our founders are rolling around in their graves for all that they fought for the freedom of this country.
The good news for those founding fathers rolling around in their graves, they can still vote. So there it is. They still have the right to vote, especially in places like Michigan. Ivy, again, love you. It's been a good week.
I love you too.
All right. And for all of you, greatly appreciate you being here, as always. Busy week. I'm guessing next week will be quiet. No, I don't believe that for a second. More of the same next week. The news cycle is intense these days, but remember this: fight the good fight and keep the faith. God bless America. I'm Steve Gruber, and remember, only you can save